There is a moment when an empath stops trying, a moment that most people never notice, because it does not happen with anger, shouting, or revenge. It happens quietly. It happens after countless attempts to understand, countless moments of patience, and countless times of putting someone else's feelings before their own. The outside world may see the silence, but they never see the emotional battle that happened before it. An empath does not usually walk away because of one mistake. They do not close the door because someone had one bad day. They understand human flaws. They understand that people can struggle, make mistakes, and need forgiveness. But there is a point where forgiveness starts feeling different, a point where the heart begins to recognize that the same person they keep protecting is the same person causing the deepest pain. The most powerful change in an empath happens when they realize that their kindness was not being appreciated. It was being consumed. Their patience was not creating healing. It was creating permission for someone to continue the same harmful patterns. Their ability to understand others became the very reason their own emotions were being ignored. In this video, we are going to explore the one thing many empaths struggle to forgive, the moment that creates the emotional point of no return. We will uncover why some betrayals feel different, why an empath can forgive mistakes but struggle to forgive a deep violation of trust, and why their silence after being hurt is often misunderstood by the people around them. You will discover the hidden psychological patterns behind an empath's breaking point. You will learn why an empath may spend a long time trying to save a connection before finally accepting that they cannot carry a relationship alone. We will look at what happens internally when someone who always gives, always understands, and always stays finally reaches a place where they choose themselves. Many people believe the strongest reaction to pain is anger, but for many empaths, the strongest reaction is emotional detachment. It is the moment where they stop explaining, stop chasing, and stop trying to prove their heart deserves respect. This transformation is often invisible, but it can completely change the way they view a person forever. There is a reason why deep emotional betrayal affects sensitive people differently. When an empath trusts someone, they are not only trusting their actions, they are trusting their intentions. They are trusting the connection they built. They are trusting that the care they give will be treated with the same honesty. So when that trust is broken, the pain is not only about what happened. The pain comes from realizing that the person they believed in was not protecting the same bond they were protecting. Throughout this video, we will break down the signs that show an empath has reached their limit. We will talk about why they often stay longer than others expect, why they forgive more times than they should, and why the final goodbye is usually not the beginning of their pain, but the end of a long emotional journey. Because the truth is, an empath's breaking point does not appear suddenly. It is built from many small moments, every ignored feeling, every broken promise, every time they offered understanding but received criticism in return, every time they gave emotional support while silently carrying their own wounds. And when that final moment arrives, the person who once fought the hardest for the relationship may become the person who no longer fights at all. This is not because they stopped caring. It is because they finally learned that caring for someone should not require abandoning themselves. In this video, we will also explore a side of empathy that many people overlook. The strength behind the sensitivity, the power behind the silence, the reason why an empath who finally chooses peace can become one of the most emotionally powerful versions of themselves. Stay until the end, because the final part reveals the biggest lesson behind an empath's point of no return. It is not about becoming cold. It is not about seeking revenge. It is about understanding the moment when protecting your own emotional health becomes more important than trying to convince someone else to value you. If you have ever felt like you gave too much, understood too much, or carried emotions that were never yours to carry, This message will help you understand why that experience changes a person so deeply. Welcome to Conscious Empath Hub, a place where we explore empathy, emotional intelligence, human behavior, and the hidden psychology behind relationships. If you want to understand the deeper side of emotions and discover powerful insights about personal growth, make sure to subscribe and join our community. Let's begin. A person with a deeply empathetic nature often experiences the world differently from those around them. They do not only hear words, they notice emotions behind those words. They do not only see actions, they often search for the feelings, fears, and experiences that may have caused those actions. This is one of the reasons empaths are known for their ability to understand people on a deeper level. When someone becomes angry, an empath often does not immediately respond with anger. Their first reaction is usually curiosity and understanding. They may wonder what caused that person to become defensive. They may think about what pain that person could be carrying. They may look beyond the behavior and try to find the reason behind it. This ability can be a beautiful strength. It allows them to show compassion when others choose judgment. It allows them to remain patient when others would quickly walk away. It allows them to see the humanity in people, even during difficult moments. But this same gift can become dangerous when it is given to someone who does not respect it. Because an empath's greatest strength can sometimes become the reason they tolerate things they should not. Many empaths are not quick to label people as bad. They often believe there is a reason behind every action. They understand that people can have wounds, fears, insecurities, and struggles that influence how they behave. When someone hurts them, their mind often goes in a different direction compared to most people. Instead of immediately asking, "Why did this person hurt me?" they may ask, "Why did this person act this way?" That difference reveals a lot about how an empath processes relationships. Their attention naturally moves toward understanding the other person. They try to find the missing piece. They try to explain the behavior. They try to make sense of the situation before making a decision. This is why many empaths forgive more than once. They remember the good moments. They remember the person before the conflict. They remember the promises, the laughter, and the connection they once shared. They do not only see the mistake in front of them, they see the entire person. And because of this, they often give chances that other people would not give. They tell themselves that people can grow. They believe that awareness can create change. They believe that love, patience, and understanding can help someone become better. Sometimes that belief is correct. People can change. People can learn. People can become more emotionally aware. But there is an important difference between someone who makes a mistake and someone who creates a pattern. A mistake usually comes with accountability. A person makes a mistake, realizes the damage they caused, and tries to repair it. They listen. They apologize. They make an effort to avoid repeating the same behavior. But a pattern looks different. A pattern happens when the same pain keeps returning. The same promises are broken. The same excuses appear. The same wounds are created again and again. And this is where many empaths begin to experience emotional exhaustion. Because they are not only dealing with what happened, they are dealing with the emotional weight of constantly hoping things will be different. One of the hardest experiences for an empath is realizing that their patience has become expected instead of appreciated. They begin to notice that every time they forgive, the other person does not necessarily become more careful. Instead, the other person may become more comfortable crossing the same boundaries. The empath starts carrying the emotional responsibility of the entire relationship. They become the one who understands. They become the one who communicates. They become the one who tries to fix problems. They become the one who looks for solutions. Meanwhile, the other person may continue doing whatever feels easiest for them. Over time, this creates an imbalance. A relationship cannot survive when One person is constantly giving emotional energy while the other person is only receiving it. An empath may tolerate this imbalance for a long time because they naturally focus on the needs of others. They may think, maybe they are going through a difficult period. Maybe they do not know how their actions affect me. Maybe if I explain myself better, they will understand. These thoughts often come from a place of compassion, but compassion without boundaries can become self-neglect, and this is one of the hardest lessons many empaths learn. Understanding someone does not mean accepting everything they do. Knowing someone's pain does not mean allowing them to create pain in your life. Seeing someone's struggles does not mean ignoring your own. A healthy empath learns that compassion must include themselves too, because when an empath constantly gives understanding but receives no understanding in return, something slowly begins to change. At first, they may become tired, then they may become quieter, then they may stop sharing their feelings, not because they no longer have emotions, but because they have learned that expressing those emotions does not create change. This is where the first breaking point begins. It is not usually a dramatic moment. It is not always a huge argument. It is often a collection of small moments that slowly damage trust, a forgotten promise, a repeated excuse, a feeling that keeps being ignored, a conversation where they once again have to explain why they are hurt. Each moment may seem small when viewed alone, but together, they create a deeper realization. The empath begins to understand that the problem is not one event. The problem is the repeated choice to ignore their emotional needs. One of the most damaging patterns is emotional manipulation. This happens when someone uses another person's feelings to control their reactions. For example, an empath may express that something hurt them, and instead of receiving understanding, they are made to feel guilty for bringing it up. They may hear things like, "You are too sensitive. You always overthink. You make everything a big deal." Over time, these responses can make an empath question their own emotions. They begin wondering if they are asking for too much. They begin wondering if they are the problem. But the deeper issue is not that they feel deeply. The issue is that their feelings are not being respected. Another painful pattern is when someone only shows care when they need something. The empath becomes the person everyone calls during difficult moments, the person people trust with their problems, the person who provides comfort and emotional support. But when the empath needs the same support, the connection suddenly feels one-sided. This creates a painful realization. The empath starts seeing that they were not always valued as a person. Sometimes they were valued because of what they provided, their kindness, their patience, their emotional support, their ability to forgive, and that realization can be one of the hardest things for them to accept, because empaths usually do not love people based on what they can receive. They love based on connection. They care because they genuinely care. They support because they genuinely want someone to feel better. So discovering that someone only appreciated their usefulness can create a deep emotional wound. The pain is not simply about being hurt. The pain is about feeling unseen, feeling like the person you understood never truly tried to understand you, feeling like your heart was available, but your humanity was overlooked. This is where the deepest betrayal begins. Not every betrayal is about a specific action. Sometimes the greatest betrayal is realizing someone had access to your kindness and still chose to take advantage of it. For an empath, trust is not built only through words. It is built through emotional safety. They need to feel that they can be honest without being punished. They need to feel that their vulnerability will be protected. They need to feel that their emotions will be handled with care. Because many empaths do not open themselves completely to everyone. They may appear understanding and warm on the outside, but their deepest emotions are usually reserved for people they truly trust. When they finally allow someone into that inner world, They are offering something extremely valuable. They are not just sharing information. They are sharing their fears, their insecurities, their dreams, their deepest thoughts. They are allowing someone to see parts of them that most people never see. And when that vulnerability is used against them, the damage goes much deeper. It changes the way they see that person. It changes the way they see the relationship. And sometimes it changes the way they see themselves. Because the question they struggle with is not only, why did this happen? The deeper question becomes, how could someone I trusted treat my heart this way? That is where an empath's point of no return often begins. Not with anger, not with revenge, but with a painful moment of clarity. They begin seeing the relationship as it truly is, not as they hoped it would become. And once that awareness appears, it becomes difficult to ignore. The greatest transformation of an empath does not happen when they stop caring about others. It happens when they finally learn to care about themselves. For a long time, an empath may believe that forgiveness means giving another chance. They may believe that understanding someone means staying no matter how much it hurts. They may believe that loving someone means continuing to fight for a connection that only they are trying to save. But eventually, they discover a deeper truth. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting the pain. Understanding someone does not mean allowing them to repeat the same damage, and loving someone does not mean sacrificing your own peace to keep them comfortable. The moment an empath stops forgiving is not the moment they lose their heart. It is the moment they finally understand the value of their heart. Their kindness was never the problem. Their compassion was never the weakness. Their ability to love deeply was never something they needed to change. The real lesson was learning where that love belongs. Because not everyone who receives an empath's loyalty knows how to respect it. Not everyone who receives their patience knows how to protect it. And not everyone who receives their love understands the responsibility that comes with it. An empath does not become cold after being hurt. They become wiser. They begin to understand that their energy is valuable. Their emotions are valuable. Their peace is valuable. They stop giving endless chances to people who only recognize their worth after losing access to them. They stop trying to convince someone to appreciate what was always there. They stop chasing people who only notice their absence after ignoring their presence. And that is the true point of transformation. It is not becoming someone who feels less. It is becoming someone who finally protects what they feel. A healed empath is not someone who has lost their softness. A healed empath is someone who learned that softness needs protection. They can still love, they can still care, they can still see the good in people. But now they also understand that they deserve the same understanding they give to everyone else. The strongest version of an empath is not the person who forgives everything. It is the person who knows when forgiveness should come with distance, because sometimes the most loving decision is not staying. Sometimes the most powerful is silence. Sometimes choosing yourself is the final act of self-respect. If you have ever reached a point where you realized that forgiveness was no longer enough, share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience may help someone else who is going through the same emotional journey. If this message connected with you, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Conscious Empath Hub for more videos about empathy, psychology, emotional intelligence, and personal growth. Remember, protecting your heart does not make you less compassionate. It means you finally understand that your heart deserves the same love you have always given to others.